Good morning, everyone. Oh, take my glasses off. The light's reflecting. How are you today? We're just going to give it a couple of minutes just to see if Facebook lets anybody know that you're here. I hope you can hear me okay. When I've done these before, the comments don't always come up. It says comments will appear, so we'll wait and see what happens. If you ask a question or anything and I don't see it, I will answer after the live. Most of the time comments come up and I don't see them, so I'm really, really sorry. It's been really quiet here all morning, and at about 2 minutes to 11, the neighbours started banging and building work and dogs started barking, and so I'm going to apologise in advance for any noise. It's typical, really, isn't it? Okay, so I'm going to get started. Recently I've seen a lot of posts and comments and products being shared and all sorts of different things relating to moisturising or using moisturisers on cork fabric. I've been asked a few different times, what do I think? How do I feel about it? Do I use moisturisers? The answer to that question, I've never used a moisturiser on cork. Okay, so from that point of view, no, I've never done it. Why haven't I done it? Because I've never needed to. I think if you buy good quality cork, then you shouldn't have to moisturise it. However, saying that, and in this world, things are now being created, so I felt it was worth having a quick look at all the different things that people are using, what are they doing, why are they doing it, what different companies are saying as to why they've produced them, and we'll go from there. So I have got some notes, just because anybody who knows me knows I have a tendency to talk and then go off on a tangent and start talking about something else, and then I forget what I'm doing. So I have got notes. So if you see me looking down, that's why I'm looking down, because I've got notes. So I wanted to start off by talking about the fact that there are lots of different names for cork fabric. I call it cork fabric because it's cork with a fabric backing. And obviously as a material, it's a fabric. So that's why I call it cork fabric. It's also known as things like vegan leather, cork leather. Can't think of any others off the top of my head. By using that word leather, I think it becomes a little bit misleading. Cork fabric isn't leather. It's not. Leather is an animal product. It's a skin. Cork comes from a tree. So in my opinion, they're completely different products. Leather tends to be that little bit thicker, whereas I didn't get my cork. Sorry. I'm not going to be able to show you one of the things I was going to do unless I can find some on the fabric behind me. Cork looks like this. Okay, so I've actually treated this with something, so I'm going to tell you about that in a minute. But cork looks like this. This is a good quality cork fabric. I'm hoping you can see it well. I think you can, but I haven't got my glasses on now, so now I can't see. So we've got cork on the front, and on the back, which has got fluff on it, as always, it looks like this. So this is a woven cotton backing, and I don't know how well you can see this. I'm going to try. It's a really, really thin piece of cork laid onto a fabric backing. Okay, so cork fabric is nothing like leather at all. They are completely different products. Leather would probably be this thickness or thicker, where the cork that we've got on this, I'm going to try and find a piece on the end and see if I can find something. It's not overly clear on the black one. This is what happens when you don't get prepared for things. Okay, this will work, but it's a little bit large. Typical. Have I got anything on this one? Let's have a look at this. No, that one's sealed really, really well. Okay, can't find a piece of cork. What you will notice on the selvage of your cork here, when you buy it, is that it's actually slightly thinner. As I say, I can't show you because this isn't coming away. I might do a little. Let me get some scissors. Don't look. I'm just going to cut this piece. It's okay. I'll use it for something later. Okay. Oh, let's tuck that down and pretend we didn't do that. Right, so if you can see on the edge here, on the selvage of the fabric, it's all fluffy, which is what you would expect from a normal fabric. But through that, you can see the actual cork itself, which is super, super thin. And that's basically how much cork is in your cork fabric. It's not like leather where you've got that thicker piece. So for me, calling it vegan leather, cork leather, can become a little bit confusing. Some of the moisturisers that I have seen being advertised, they are being used in a way and being likened to what you would use on leather. The instructions are how you would treat leather. Use a brush to apply the moisturiser. This is what you would do with leather, so this is what we do with this. Cork isn't leather. Let's start with leather. Let's look at that. Think about your own skin. So for our own skin, it tends to get dry. You shower, you use soaps with all the perfumes and the chemicals and all those things. Then we have to use moisturisers because our skin goes dry. It's natural, that's what we have to do. Water dries your skin out, it's awful. Looking at my notes, 1 second. Because cork isn't leather, it's not skin, it doesn't react the same way. Cork is wood. So my question is, would you use a leather moisturiser and leather soaps and leather processes on your expensive wooden cabinets, your wooden dressers, your wooden table? Probably not. You'd be more likely to use something like maybe a linseed oil or beeswax. So I do have a leather sofa. But I couldn't find the leather cream. Typical. But I do also have beeswax. So I thought a little bit of an experiment. I have already treated this piece of cork with some beeswax. Now, I don't know if you can see, there's a line there. Where this piece has been treated with the beeswax and this piece hasn't. So it's literally changed the colour of the cork. Has it changed the texture? It has changed the texture a little. Has it soaked in? That's going to be the biggest question. I also tried it on this one, which I think I've used this in lives before, and I think I said this one always feels quite dry because of all the chemical treatments that it's had. And I don't know if you can see on there, again, we've got a slight line there with beeswax. I don't think it's made a difference. I don't think it's soaked in. It's obviously changed the colour of it. But the thing about wax is that wax sits on the top of wood. It doesn't actually soak into it. Wax is there to protect rather than actually moisturise the wood. If you want to use an oil which is what you would use on leather. You'd use a moisturising cream, a moisturising oil, or if you were treating wood with something like linseed oil, the oil would need to soak in. Now, comparing cork to other types of wood, pine, walnut, any type of wood, if you're going to treat that with an oil, the oil would soak into the wood and it would feed and nourish it and prevent it from cracking and drying and all those things, where the wax would sit on the top. But the one thing we know about cork fabric is that it's moisture resistant. And if cork is moisture resistant, is that oil actually going to soak in? Is the moisturising cream going to soak in? Is the leather moisturiser going to actually soak in? Or is it going to sit on the top of the fabric? The same way that beeswax is really sitting on the top of the fabric. I can feel it. So in answer to the big question of should we moisturise cork fabric, you first have to look at the composition of cork. Everywhere you look, cork is moisture resistant, antimicrobial, antibacterial, it's waterproof, it's all those things. So these products that we're seeing, the moisturisers, the waxes and all those things, is the cork actually going to soak it up? Or is it just going to sit on the top? Are we getting cork confused with leather? For hundreds of years, we've used cork for wine bottle stoppers. Why do we use cork for wine bottle stoppers? Because liquids can't soak into it. If you used a normal type of wood as a stopper for a wine bottle, eventually that wine would soak into the wood and would potentially start to leak out of it. So the whole point of using cork is that it can't do that. I'm not a scientist. I don't have a science lab around me. Really, I'm just thinking about the different things that we know about cork and can those moisturisers and oils actually work? The other thing that I've noticed is that words like this moisturiser will help to keep your cork soft, it will help to keep it supple, it will help to make it last. Is that true? I don't know. I'm not a scientist. But what I can tell you is that because the amount of cork in your cork fabric, as we looked at here earlier, is such a thin amount, I don't even think I can peel this. Oh, I can. I'm going to try and peel this back a little bit so you can actually see how much is there. So I've just peeled this back a little. I don't know if you can see. That's the actual amount of cork in cork fabric. If you scratch that, if you pull at it, it's going to break. Where leather has that stronger finish because it's a solid product, cork is the thinnest layer, almost like a veneer, I suppose, on the top of a piece of fabric. And again, I've shown this bag before. This is a bag that I've used for ages. Which corner? This is the corner that's gone. Okay, so it does need cleaning still. If I had moisturised that, would it have made a difference? Probably not. It probably wouldn't have made a difference. It's on a corner. It's going to wear. The same way that if you had a sharp corner on leather, it would wear. Moisturising it, would it have made a difference? I don't really think so. Because if you're going to catch something on something, that's what's going to happen. The same way if you have your leather sofa and you have children who have buckles on their shoes and they scratch it, is moisturiser going to make a difference to that? No, it's not. It's damaged. That's it. I haven't really answered the question. I realise that. But I hope I've given you some things to think about. The first thing, I suppose, is cork isn't leather. The second thing is cork is wood. What would you use on wood? The third thing, for all the things we know about cork being moisture resistant, not absorbing anything, do these oils and waxes actually absorb into the cork, or are they just sitting on the top? And for the amount of cork fabric that's the amount of cork that's actually in cork fabric, would it make a difference using it anyway? Is it just going to wear? So I hope I've given you some things to think about. I did use my notes, but it was a bit rambly. It's better in my head. If you've got any questions, then feel free to ask me. I hope you have a lovely day, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye.